Hi everybody, welcome to my tiny little corner of the internet and of YouTube. Today's video is going to sound a little different because yesterday I was as sick as a dog. Today I'm feeling much better, but obviously, as you can hear, my voice is not back to normal yet. Today I'm going to tackle a couple of subjects because I think it is time we really stop being stupid, stop being gossip mongers, and try to stick to at least something which is plausible, if not proven true. Let me put it this way. If all the so-called sources are true and really exist, then the royals and Harry and Meghan are, or should be, surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands of people on a daily basis. How can anyone, including the royal family, Harry and Meghan, have stuff coming out about them on a daily basis? It just is not possible. They are human, and like us, they have off days, sick days, busy days, and days of leisure. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to address a couple of stories doing the rounds now and give you my opinion or share with you what I know or what I was told and how much or not I believe it. The first thing is that someone posted a comment in one of my videos saying that she heard from a reliable source that Harry had been to the UK over the past few weeks. According to them, he had been flying out of New York, as that is seen as less likely that he will be spotted. So I'm asking myself, was Jay giving me a hint when he said the best place for Harry to meet up with his father would be in Scotland? I don't know. He is extremely loyal, and if he's not supposed to say something, he won't. But anyway, I think it is quite plausible, and here is why. Could that be why Camilla was in Greece on a yacht instead of with Charles in Scotland? Was she dodging Harry, did not want to be around while he was there? And then, let's say I got this from another reliable source, not Jay, but the story is that Buckingham Palace is lying to us about the King's health. Now, I have a fairly good idea what type of cancer Charles has. What I do not know is what stage it is at. Now, Lady C is 100% correct. It is a type of cancer one can live with for years, where it can be treated like any other chronic illness, depending on what stage it was discovered at. The person's overall health would count for something, his or her age, etc., etc. Of course, it has to be checked to make sure it does not spread. According to Dr. Google, as reliable as he can be, there are various courses of action if the initial chemo did not get rid of it all. Also, according to Google, initially there's very little pain, just discomfort, and that is why it is often misdiagnosed or missed, or may even take a while before the patient decides to go see a doctor. However, as time passes, discomfort could turn to pain, and not just in the affected areas. I'll give you an example. When I have a Crohn's or IBS flare-up, my left leg is always sore. Why? I don't know. Nobody has ever given me an answer on that one. Now, this is just an example. I'm not saying the King has this or that, because there are so few people we know or dare ask, I'll do a dastardly thing to betray that confidence, because the chances are that the royal family will know where to look for that leak. Anyway, that kind of information is really not important. What is more important is that the king is not doing as well as Buckingham Palace and the courtiers wants us to believe. I do not know why, etc., the exact circumstances. All I was told is that his age and other underlying health issues are playing a role. I want to rather put it this way to you. It is also the reason why William and Catherine had been taking it relatively easy this year, spending a lot of time with their children, because it is whispered in hallowed halls of Buckingham Palace that as from the beginning of next year, if not sooner, William will have to start acting as regent and take on many of his father's duties. So they will be very, very busy. Also, the reason why they are moving to Forest Lodge. It will soon fall on them to receive more guests and meetings and heads of charities, etc. The Queen's idea was that William and his family move into Windsor Castle so that when the time comes and Charles is forced to scale down, William will already be in a place and position where he can receive, say, the Prime Minister or foreign dignitaries at his home. However, Charles decided differently, and as soon as the mourning period was over, he started changing things around Windsor Castle. He redecorated a number of rooms and brought some of his own art collection over. So, no matter what, the only ones who can decide who lives where in the Crown Estate properties is Charles and the 8 commissioners. So William had no choice but to look for something else. Adelaide Cottage was certainly not big enough to entertain a delegation from wherever. Those naysayers can go and look at the floor plans and tell me where in Adelaide Cottage they could fit a table seating, say, 24 people. I don't think they can even fit a 12-seater. Anyway, I know there are many talks going on because William is a different kettle of fish and he is very, very stubborn. So one way or the other, we shall see a very, very different monarchy under King William. Regardless, my dears, the future will provide for itself. So we have to look at the present, and I think the present is not looking very rosy. I think that if my information is true, then Harry's visit was likely the reason for William and his family and Camilla being as far away as they could get on the ocean, in the waters of another country. Now, the other matters floating around YouTube and the internet, I see even fairly reliable YouTubers are talking about Meghan's link to Epstein, allegedly. I searched high and low to find the article which started this particular one rumor, and strangely, it seems as if it originated right here, and I mean right here in South Africa. Now, I looked at the 3 copies in 3 different local rags, and let me tell you, those are not reliable news vendors. I see some other papers have picked up on it, not local ones, but again, small rags and not big newspapers and magazines. No Daily Mail, the Mirror, Express, New York Times, Vanity Fair, People, Hello. Not that I think the last two are all that reliable or truthful, but, you know, the usual players do not seem to be in on it, and that makes me a little hesitant to tell certain stories as fact. I see the articles say that Ghislaine said she found a CV at Epstein's place which could be linked to Meghan. Now, I can tell you a few stories about Meghan's CV, or rather CVs, because she seemed to adjust her CV depending on which role or job she was applying for. I have indeed seen different versions of her CV. There was even one where she listed pole dancing as one of her talents, and boys and girls, those were just as the news broke that she was dating Harry, and of course we would have Googled her at the time. Anyway, if she saw or heard of old Jeffy advertising a lucrative job prior to landing Suits, I can quite believe that she would have applied and adapted her CV to suit the position. However, we have no evidence that it is true. Ghislaine could not give any more details, and according to the one article, which was actually a little more serious and readable, one would assume that it was prior to 2010, because she got the role in Suits in 2010 and they started shooting in 2011. Well, wasn't she with Trevor then? Well, yes, but that did not bother her. I've heard numerous stories, among which her time on Deal or No Deal, where she would go to parties with the directors and the stagehands and even celebrities. If there was a party, Meghan wanted to be part of it. Sometimes gate crashing, sometimes sneaking in as someone's supposed plus one, and she was often the last one to leave. And yes, that was while she was with Trevor. So I said this years ago, and I'll say it again, and I have a feeling Lady C and even the likes of Samantha and Thomas Jr. will agree with me. It is very likely that Meghan knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. It is likely they ran into each other because old Jeffy was running in the rich and influential circle as well as the celebrity circle, and Meghan was desperately worming her way in. Remember, she also met Eugenie and Misha Nunu and a number of other people who knew Jeffrey, so it is virtually impossible that Meghan would not have known him or known about him. But, we have no proof that she ever worked for him, whether recruiting for him or done anything else for him. Well, you see, she was actually too old to do much for him anyway. Jeffrey Epstein's girls, I believe, had to be younger than 18. Well, I mean, she could have entertained other guests like Andrew, who liked them between 18 and 25, or so his buddies are saying. But, it is not true that there's currently any proof that Meghan Markle had intimate or carnal relations with Jeffrey or Andy. According to the articles, though, the CV, which Ghislaine allegedly found, also stated that Meghan had experience in the adult film industry. Well, that I'm also not so sure of. Not sure she ever got paid for one of these movies. As far as my knowledge goes, both the videos I am aware of was done, let's say, as a favor, as some sort of play, to make things more exciting. And in one case, I'm told that once the bubble burst and reality hit, the participant or photographer panicked. Why he did not just destroy it, God alone knows, but the man had a very short fling with an ex-president's wife. But they remained friends thereafter, so she offered to keep it and hide it for him. But not too long thereafter, she got scared and offered it for sale to a well-known adult movie maker. Now, he saw it, he watched it, and decided, allegedly, according to him, that it was too hot to handle. So where it is now, or whether it still exists, I do not know. I think it is likely the lady threw it in the fire, or the photographer, and I'm going to name him, Gabor Urena, took it back. Then I saw another one, and this one was such bad quality that it was more home movie style, and it wasn't very long. Action was already ongoing when the camera switched on, or it was cut. I don't know. I did not investigate because I'm morally and intellectually against those type of movies, and I do not agree that it's good for marriages either. I think just the opposite. Anyway, it was only a few minutes and I wiped it off my laptop, so I cannot even go back and see exactly how long it was. But I think there were stills taken before, because I saw a photograph of Meghan sitting on the exact same bed in a red dress. Okay, well, enough of being graphic. People can change and people can turn their lives around. But I'm not going to try and convince you Meghan Markle was innocent and pure. It's not a joke. It is not gossip. It is fact that quite a few men had been through those gates. But again, Meghan Markle has enough of a past that we need not pay attention to something for which we have no evidence and which could, in the end, cost us dearly if we got it wrong, but decided to spread it as the truth. There are stories about Harry and Meghan splitting. Apparently, allegedly, it is already in the works. Again, I personally believe this. I cannot see two such toxic people making it to their 20th wedding anniversary and beyond. Besides, they are now in that 7-year itch period, and along with that there are deals falling flat, the slow trickle of income, and likely far too little to sustain Meghan's champagne taste. So with all of that taken into account, I have a feeling that the relationship could be pretty much over. But am I going to bet my life on it? No, because there's no proof whatsoever, at least not now. Maybe some of it will still surface, as we regularly say, time will tell. I made a prediction and I'm sticking to it. I think some of the things we are currently wondering about, Harry's relationship with his family, Charles's health, Harry and Meghan's relationship and marriage, and so on, will all be answered or partially answered from mid-September to mid-December. And the reason why I'm saying this is because at the moment the royal family are all holed up at Balmoral. Whatever's going on behind closed doors is where it will stay for the moment, or at least until they return home and start their daily activities again. And now, before I go, there's something we need to open our eyes to, because again, we are being misled. And look, we know Meghan loves the press. We know she's addicted to seeing her name in the press. She does not care what the narrative is, as long as her veneers shine brightly in a photograph in some magazine or newspaper. But Meghan cannot brief on something she knows nothing about. A lot of people are speculating about Charles's office briefing against William versus Meghan or Harry, or Meghan and Harry feeding the press some rubbish. Well, ask yourself, did Meghan know that Meredith Maines and Torben Andre were going to be sitting outside on the balcony? Have a look. The only one not looking surprised is indeed Torben Andre. And is it coincidence that it is the Daily Mail coming out with a story each time? I mean, oh yes, they are doing so because they are afraid of Harry and Meghan. Oh no, I mean, they actually want Harry to withdraw his cases. Oh, excuse me. They want to draw Harry and Meghan in and be best buddies with them. Do you actually see how ridiculous this is? What is not ridiculous is that Torben Andre was sub-editor of the Daily Mail, and King Charles poached him from there. So you want to tell me that there's a bigger chance that Harry and Meghan briefed the Daily Mail than there is that someone who worked there would brief them? I do not think so, particularly if you think that Andre was part of the mockery of Catherine by calling her Waity Katie during his time as sub-editor. Actually, Torben has a history of giving William and Catherine bad press. So yes, I do think that the Buckingham Palace officers of King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla are briefing against William and Catherine. And you sincerely do not have to believe me. I'm swallowing hard on this one myself. But I think there are times when William is close, very close, to walking away. I have a feeling that if Catherine or any of his children would receive any further pressure or harassment, he may very well turn his back and walk away. And you and I know that would be the end of the monarchy. Another correction. I also see that there are stories now that William wanted a royal lodge, and they only chose Forest Lodge because there's no getting past Andrew's lease agreement. This is total rubbish. Very early on, William made it clear that he is not interested in Royal Lodge. Oh well, my dears, the last few months of this year will be interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, guys, I really need to take my sore throat, ears, and aching head and go take a break. So, until we meet again on the next one, please take good care of yourselves and stay safe. Bye.